Oh. Forgot the camera wasn't set up. Let me do that real quick. How's your day been, Fate? I couldn't sleep last night, so pretty exhausting for the most part. And then I got home, I slept a little bit, so now I feel a lot better, but still kind of tired. Yeah, no, that fucking sucked. I was like in and out of sleep the whole night. I don't know why. Other than that, surviving. Okay. Um, you ever tried to calm background noise for sleep? I used to. Uh, I don't know. The way I sleep is different. I felt like I was uncomfortable for some reason. I used to have music in the background, and that would sometimes do the trick. But no, I don't know. Start earning revenue. I never got to set up Twitch. Pain in my ass. Okay. Well, you can't pay me on Twitch still. Alrighty. So today, God, my hair's so smooth now. I try not to like wash my hair. Um, forever. Like I only wash it every 3 days. So it ends up being like really smooth every time I wash it. I think I need to condition it a little more after I shower, just so it doesn't end up like really dry. It already actually feels a little dry. Let me grab a conditioner real quick. Actually, sorry. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Ah. Why can't I donate here? Because I didn't set up the affiliate program. I never got to. I just told you I couldn't sleep, bro. You think I had the time to set up the program? But for real, hope you got some decent sleep. I'm functioning now. Um, I wasn't earlier, but I'm functioning now. Ah, fuck. No, no, no. Damn it. History. Okay, close that. Close that. And then I gotta save up money to buy fucking the Blu-rays. Because I still don't have the Blu-rays for season 5. Oh yeah, they shared a new art piece for the Blu-rays. Might as well show it. So this is the cover. This is the first cover for the Blu-rays. The first cover for the Blu-rays. I'm not gonna lie, she kind of looks like Aerith. I'm not gonna lie, she kind of looks like Aerith. Like low-key. Now, granted, Aerith is nowhere near this dummy thick, but she kind of looks like Aerith. I think it's just the color palette. Like it's like Aerith has a bracelet like this, except it's not gold. It's silver. Like these are her colors. There's the fucking ponytail looks kind of similar. She kind of looks like she has the bangs. So yeah, very Kana Hirayama design. Very Kana Hirayama design. Like this looks like this is a cover, right? This feels like a cover that like Reiji would make if it was the anime. Oh, I just realized this thing's a heart. I didn't even notice this thing was a heart. That's kind of cute. The heart is this way. Go with the heart kind of thing. And it's still at the beach, which is kind of cute. Wow, there's pearls in her hair too. Yeah. I always notice Kana's design is always so cheerful. It's so cheerful, whereas Reiji is like a little more tame, you know? It's not always just outright cheerful, mostly because like the manga currently isn't super cheerful. So, like, you know, it's just interesting as a contrast. Chizuru in the anime is a lot more bubbly, whereas in the manga, she's a little more like, how do I describe it? It's not that she isn't all smiles, it's just she's not these kinds of smiles, you know? Like, the way she's depicted in the anime is different. Now, it's still cute. And, of course, she's dummy thick. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Just, goddamn, Kana, relax. 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 Yeah, I guess we'll finally get to see Mommy in a swimsuit in the cover. She didn't have a swimsuit last time. Yeah, so we'll probably start getting more of them soon. I bet maybe next week or the next few days we'll get more. Like, that's how they did the last set, where it's like it was a set of 3, I think. And so they did this one. So they did Chizuru first, then it was Mommy, and then it was Ruka. I think that was the order. And then the set 2 is going to be Chizuru again, then it's going to be Sumi, and then it's going to be Minnie. That's the order I remember. I think the only one out of the ones from last time that I wasn't a huge fan of, I just thought it was okay, was the Sumi one. It was still really cute, but it was like very tame. You know? It fit Sumi to a T. It fit Sumi to a T. But all the other ones just felt more interesting. So Kazuya's not going to be getting one. Haha, you're funny. Kazuya getting a cover? Kazuya getting a cover? Nope. Literally never. Not a single Blu-ray has Kazuya on it. Not a single Blu-ray has Kazuya on it. Well, actually, no, I lied. Season 3. I lied. Season 3 is the exception. I lied. Season 3 is the exception. It was the Blu-ray is framed like a movie cover. Here, I have one. I got I think either the first or the second one. Oh. Shit. It's blocked off. You can't see the back. Damn it. Yeah. No, okay, so this one is different. So for season 3, they only had 2 of them. So this is one and then you get the other one. This was the only season where they did this. Yeah, the only season where Kazuya's actually on the Blu-rays is season 3. Both of them. But to be fair, for season 3, they were framed like movie posters. So the art for the Blu-rays was like movie posters. That was the only thing. So that's why. think I have them somewhere. I can try checking. Yeah. Okay, here's season 4. Maybe I have it over here. Aha! Here's the other one. This is the second one. Yeah, Kazuya's on there. But again, look at it. It's literally framed like a movie poster. That's why. Yeah. It's one of the only ones. Chizuru is front and center in both of them. So Chizuru is front and center in both of them. Trying to see if I can find the other one. You guys can see the full picture. I don't see it. Maybe I don't have it. That or I placed it somewhere weird. I am known for doing that. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I have it. Or, wait, is this it? Nope. I attempted, and I failed. Yeah, the ones that always get Kazuya, so what always gets Kazuya, like consistently, I think, almost consistently. I think one of the few exceptions, ironically, is season 3 or no, season 2. I think it was season 2. So the only exception that I know that tends to get Kazuya is the opening covers. So the opening cover for season 4 and season 3 both have Kazuya. I don't know if he's in season 2. I don't know if he's in season 2. And I don't know if he's in season 1. The endings tend to not get Kazuya. I know he's in season 3 and season... Oh, no, he's in season 2 as well. Yeah, he's in season 2 as well. Yeah, one of my favorite ones is from season 2. Yeah, one of my favorite ones from season 2 has Kazuya on it. Oh, and never mind. They all have them. Never mind. They literally all have them. Yeah. No, every single one, every single opening from the anime, the disc form always has Kazuya on it. Every time, both Chizuru and Kazuya, without question, and nobody else. It tends to just be them. The only exception that has all the other characters, kinda, is this one. It has the characters with them as chibis. This is the only exception. Every other season opening does not have the other female characters. It's just Kazuya and Chizuru. Okay. That's okay. So yes, we do have Kazuya stuff. And they alternate, which is really cool. So here's a cool detail. Season 1's disc cover is by Reiji. Season 2's disc cover is by Kana. Season 3's disc cover is by Reiji. And so it continues. The only one that broke the trend, and it broke my heart that it did, was season 5. It broke my heart that it broke the trend. They stuck with the trend, except for season 5, where season 5 had Kana's art. Fucking broke my heart. It was such a cool trend. They would literally alternate, but nope. Season 5 just said, fuck it. Nope. In return, we got a lot more Reiji art for like the Blu-rays. But yeah, season 5 is the one that broke the rule. Okay. So yeah, that's roughly this stuff. Oh yeah. So someone posted this on my Discord. Let me see if I can pull it up. Who did post it? Who's this? Rato? Why can't I see the name? Just R? Okay. This person, R, posted this meme. I love you, Mizuhara. I will say, like, Thor Love and Thunder was a really weird movie, but it definitely had some funny shit. This was a really weird movie. It felt like they like made Taki Waititi, I think that's how you say his name, Taki Waititi. They like made him do this movie and he didn't fucking want to. So the entire movie's just a big fuck you. The entire movie's just a big fuck you to Marvel. And it's just full of dumb shit. But it's so funny too. They gave me a metal I have a metal popcorn bucket for that movie, and I use it for my tools. It's in my garage. I use it for my tools. Then what's this one? Besides, they're the ones who were sneaking behind everyone's back first. Ruka's mind. Good, good. Let the hate flow through you. I don't know if that's Ruka's mind, but all right. All right. I guess let's go to Reddit. I'll read some of the comments before I mosey on over. Oh yeah, we never did get to read this. All right, I guess I'll read. I'll like skim this really fast. Let's see. How much sleep is work for you? How much sleep is work for you? What does that mean? When mommy's swimsuit drops, Jaws is gonna buy them all. Yeah. I wonder why they used to have black bar with Ruka and now they don't. Just to understand, it's censorship and they don't know what they're fucking doing. So this one right here didn't have any censorship, but if you go to the Japanese version, this is the Japanese website. Let me reload the page. You'll see something interesting. Load, please. Black bars. They're back. Black bars are back. And why are the black bars back? If anything, they're more, like, these being here make it look more provocative than it actually is. Right? And then they're not here anymore, but then here they're there. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna be real. Maybe they realized they could censor it easier by just putting the white stuff on there. That's what I did. So, like, I don't know who noticed my thumbnail. I hopefully my thumbnail will get away with it. But I don't know who noticed my thumbnail. I actually did a little stuff to it. You'll notice I put little, like, shades here. Yeah, I made it look natural, so you guys probably couldn't tell. But no, I actually literally just put like some white there just to hide stuff. Just so the YouTube thumbnail won't be like fucking flagged. Because like last time I did something that was like even a little bit like provocative. They're just like, nope, YouTube thumbnail taken down. They didn't take down the video or anything. They just got rid of the thumbnail. But yeah, like... Yeah, like we'll go to the thing and you'll notice it is different. Yeah, see, you can see more. If you watch The Joker, after the Murray flanker scene, we see a row of TVs. On one, the censor the fucking, but leave the shooting completely clear. No beeps, no nothing. So the English chapter is uncensored, but not the Japanese one. Well, uncensored, there is censorship. It's just very light. And you can't tell because all they did was put white on it. This is the censorship they used to have before, where they literally just didn't show nipples. That's it. Like when the volume releases for this, there will be nipples. That's it. That's literally it. It's just nipples. So all they did was just slightly delete them. That's it. And it's really fucking easy. It takes 2 seconds. Well, understand, the reason I think they censored this, because the censorship didn't start until the controversial Ruka chapter. And it was specifically K-manga, and I think it kind of like low-key blew up. And Ruka being a minor, kind of, like we don't know what her age is, maybe specifically because she's in high school, like blew up as a negative thing. So they're like, oh my god, censor it or we'll get in trouble. They were scared. It was just reactionary. A lot of censorship is just reactionary, and understand, prior to this, K-manga didn't censor anything. No, not K-manga, sorry. No, sorry. Take that. Hold on. This one, Shoujo Shonen Magazine, which is the original K-manga, didn't censor anything. The Ruka chapter happens, and suddenly there's censorship. And their censorship is different, right? Their censorship is a little more tame than this version, but there's censorship. And it's weird. Now, this doesn't have censorship, and this does have censorship. Now, they started getting better with it in the mommy chapter. I think, this one, 417. 417 in this version has this censorship. Our version doesn't have that. Our version does not have that. Yeah, see, look, and you can like very clearly see what they did. Like, I can see it. Like literally, they just put a white spot here. And then the same here. They just put white spots. Again, very clear white spots. It's, like, super obvious. And we talked about how these scenes do parallel. We've already talked about how they're... I think we talked about it. Did we talk about how Mami and Ruka are both shown in a cloud of showers? Did I mention that? Did I not mention that? I hope I mentioned that. That both Ruka and Mami are in a cloud of showers, or sorry, in a shower of brain. They're just surrounded by mist. There we go. Just fuck you, brain. Yeah, that and the baka. Okay, good. I don't know what I said in the past. I'm like barely here. Okay, let's skim through this. The moment the characters fall in love, the origin of those feelings, as well as the moment they become aware of them, but they might be wondering what happened then. Isn't Chizuru still uncertain even now? Or is it that she simply hasn't realized it yet or refused to accept it? Well, I think it's simply a visual and logical explanation. In the post, you're going to examine 3 things: that Chizuru has already made her decision, how she fell in love, and what Chizuru is doing now. Chizuru made her decision. She's unsure about her decision. How she fell in love, she's been in love for a while. She's under the illusion she's falling in love. What is Chizuru doing now? I don't know. Let's go to chapter. Sumi, do you like this person? The Japanese word she uses is Suki. She responds with 3 concepts in Japanese that are lost in translation. She literally says, I don't understand what it means to that I like that person, Suki. If I want to stay by his side, okay, yeah, koi and I. Yes, we already know all this stuff. As many of you already know, Japanese distinguishes these ideas separately. Koi refers to romantic infatuation. Yeah, okay. Refers to deep, unconditional affection. Not quite. Unconditional, yes. Affection, not necessarily. No, if anything, no. This is not correct. Koi is romantic affection. Right, not infatuation. Not infatuation. This is very important. It's not simply infatuation. It is romantic affection. It's you being interested in someone romantically. That is not infatuation. There's a difference between infatuation and you being romantically interested in someone. I think I could be wrong. Whereas I is more of an unconditional form of love. Where it's basically the idea that it can expand to everything, where you can love everything unconditionally. At the moment she questions whether she truly possesses both of these feelings. No, she's wondering which one is love. Not if she possesses both feelings. She's wondering which one is love. Not separate. No, she cannot differentiate between the two and doesn't know which one is the correct form of love. Which in of itself is the mistake. That is the mistake, is trying to differentiate 2 completely separate feelings and comparing yourself to someone else. Okay? Then after the cohabitation, the day and everything that follows, Chizuru tells Umi, I think maybe I'm finally managing to fall in love, Koi. I'm sure they're already inside those feelings. Sononaka inside of it. Then in chapter 4 and 14, using the word Suki, Chizuru tells Minnie he said he'd wait until I come to feel or think that I like him. In other words, Chizuru is referring directly back to the exact same two concepts she discussed with Sumi. She wants both conditions to be fulfilled. Okay. Chizuru then says, I wasn't lying in Odaiba. It's not that I didn't understand his feelings. It's just that I wasn't at a point where I could start a relationship with him. Why does this sound a little off? I'm going to double check it. Why does that sound a little off? Either I'm crazy or that sounds a little off. I don't know why it sounds off. I just don't like it when people Sorry. It's not that I didn't understand his feelings. It's just didn't reach a point where I want to be in a relationship. She's lying, though. Okay, this is important. I was wondering... I knew something was wrong with the way they were phrasing it. She's lying. She's fucking lying. No, she's lying. I was wondering why it sounded weird. The visual is important to the context of her words. She's lying. Because that doesn't sound like Chizuru. That description does not sound like Chizuru. She's fucking lying to Minnie. Okay. This is both logical and very clear. Not quite. Why would she need the time just to figure out her own feelings? Because that's no longer this is about. At this point, this is no longer an understanding of emotions. It's a matter of preparing the external things. It's the misunderstanding that they need to prepare external things, but okay. And she doesn't see this merely as a condition for starting a relationship. We also have to remember that she also feels guilty and indebted because of everything that happened between them in the past. In other words, after the Odaiba, Chizuru had already reached the stage of Koi. What still remains is I. And that in and of itself is the misunderstanding. No. The conversation with Minnie ends with Chizuru remembering her grandmother's words. Once again, her grandmother appears, just like the panel, and spoke about I and devotion, self-giving, and sacrifice for the other person you love. Pacing the reflecting on those difficult choices, that is the only honest thing about life. That's not... Sayuri did not speak about I. Sayuri did not speak about I. She did not talk about devotion, self-giving, and sacrifice. That is not what she talked about in this fucking conversation. That is no. All Sayuri was talked about is continuing to make choices, no matter how difficult those choices are. She did not talk about I. She did not talk about devotion. She did not talk about self-giving, and she did not talk about sacrifice. The entire point of this conversation is continuing to struggle and make choices anyway. And that they loved each other. That's it. How Chizuru fell in love. After the wise arc during the final day, Kazuya asks Chizuru how she feels about him. Chizuru replies, let me investigate the feelings I have for you. Okay, no. Chizuru already fell in love like ages ago. Like at the very beginning of the manga, bro. Then comes the month of cohabitation, during which they got to know each other much better. Chizuru begins treating Kazuya with far more natural affection than before. She's more honest with him, invites him to herself, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, Kazuya invites her on the Odaiba date. He promises her that this won't be the rental date. This time it will be different. His goal is to blah, 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 blah. The entire spans 32 chapters. Koi Kogoro to Kanojo, the heart falling in love with her. No, that's not the name of the arc. No. Pretty sure this is not the name of the arc. I remember we were going through it. This doesn't seem right. Question. For anyone who might know, question. Is this person using AI? The feeling of love. How would I know? I said who. I was asking someone who would know. I'm not saying you would know. I'm asking someone who is on the Reddit and would know. Don't assume I'm speaking to you if you don't know. No, Koikoguru. Jesus Christ. I don't even know if that's even the correct way of writing it. It looks different. It looks different from the way he wrote it. I remember we already checked this with Crumpy, so I'll check it at another time, but it doesn't feel quite correct. Most of the day, never truly correct. Connect emotionally, they're operating on complete. Either they're using AI or they're taking a lot of interpretive liberties, which I've always been not a big fan of. That's kind of my issue. I don't like taking interpretive liberties, unless there's a basis for it. Which to me, like, while it looks like there's a basis for it, the narrative is actively telling you there's things we're incorrect about. So it just doesn't make sense. Chooser tries to ask meaningful, serious, and deeply personal questions while Kazuya unintentionally recreates the atmosphere of rental days by focusing only on entertaining her. Something that was much. What you don't realize, the problem is, what you don't realize in that arc, Kazuya is trying to have a really light date. Chizuru is trying to speedrun her emotions, which does not work. Both of which don't work. They're both what you're failing to misunderstand. And this is something I failed to misunderstand too when we first analyzed that date. They're both on completely different wavelengths and they're both fucking up. They're literally both fucking up because they're not actually communicating very well at all. It's not just Kazuya, it's both of them. Chizuru is trying to speedrun her feelings. She's literally asking questions to, like, get into marriage. Whereas Kazuya is just trying to have a light date. Even though he's the one who wanted to create an environment to talk to her. And basically, neither of them did what they wanted to do. Not just the other. They both literally did what they wanted to do. They both did not do what they wanted to do. It was both of them. Okay, I think that's the common misunderstanding we're having here. It's like, yeah, even I blamed Kazuya a lot in the date. And while he fucked up in the date, so did Chizuru. She's literally doing the opposite of what she wanted to do. She's like speedrunning shit. See, I think that's the irony. There's an interesting irony to what's going on with Chizuru in the date. She's excited for something to happen. She's not ready for it. So every time she sees something happen, she freaks. And you'll see that from the very beginning of the date. That's the thing. You'll see that from the very beginning of the date. In the very beginning of the date, when they get on the train and Kazuya's bag touches her boobs, she covers them, you know? Now, okay, that's fair. You're in a public train, right? That's fair. You're in a public train. But that in of itself was acting as foreshadowing. She's not comfortable being touched and being seen. And it actually, like, physical intimacy makes Chizuru very uncomfortable. Like, even though she wants it. This is a trauma. This is literally a trauma. And she doesn't know its source, just as Kazuya doesn't know his source of the trauma for his sexual intimacy, right? He also has a fear of sexual intimacy, and yes, that can be traced directly back to Hawaiians. Literally, it's traced directly back to Hawaiians, where their desire for physical intimacy became this horrible thing for them, where they got traumatized as a byproduct of their desire for physical intimacy. So, both of them are scared of it. Both of them are fucking scared of it. Both of them are scared to both act on it, and when it almost happens, they retreat. You see this as they're walking to the destination, where the scene where Chizuru smiles as they're walking. Right after that, they see a couple making out in the bushes. You know, they see a couple making out in the bushes, and Chizuru has like a very what the fuck kind of reaction. Now, granted, the what the fuck reaction makes sense, but at the same time, it's just, oh, well, yeah, you're also showing you're sending Kazuya signals that you're uncomfortable with this idea, and so Kazuya himself retreats. You know? Yeah, what they're doing is weird. What the couple are doing is absolutely weird, like making out in the fucking bushes. But at the same time, Chizuru being uncomfortable with that sends Kazuya the signal that she's not comfortable with intimacy. Therefore, Kazuya never initiates intimacy. Because he's trying to be like, oh, that's not going on. But didn't Chizuru kiss Kazuya in the car? And when did that happen? And how much effort did it take? Think about that for a sec. When did that happen and how much effort did it take? It happened a day later, after they were holding on to each other walking home. And after she kept restraining herself until Kazuya seemingly confessed his love again. Do you know what I mean? My family's back. Give me a sec. I'm going to check on them. Hi, love. How are you? on topic for this brief interlude, but anyone's playing the new Avatar fighting game, I'm gonna get it once I get paid. So I already had to spend a lot this week, so I'm not gonna get it just yet, but I'm gonna get it when I get a chance. You know what? We can check this. Let me check what I talked about with Crumpy. Can I search? Ugh, this would have been like almost a year ago. Jeez. It would have been a hot minute ago. Actually, wait. I do have here, let's go to my profile. Illusion of truth? No. Oh, I saw something really funny. What's his name? I don't really follow Briff, but he occasionally, yeah, this guy, Briff, he occasionally comes into my feed, and he like straight up admitted he didn't he was like really upset and didn't like Chizuru after 380, and I'm like, I fucking knew it. I knew you had a vendetta against her. I fucking knew it. There it is. Okay. What was the arc called? Okay. Where is the name of the arc? Let's see if I can search. Can I search from here? More. Search. Koi. Shit. I hope it didn't like delete after a certain point. In which case we would need to like go back to previous streams and like piece it together. I think we're almost there. Yeah. Bro. We're almost a year ago. We are pretty much a year ago now. That's crazy. That's fucking bonkers, dude. Today is the 24th. What released last year? What chapter released last year? Oh my god, it was the mini chapter. Or no, it was the... This arc started last year. This arc started last year. That's bonkers, dude. This arc started last year. Like, it actually straight up began last year. That's bonkers. Wow. I had these translated. Fuck it. I'm going to take a little bit of break from reading this. How much do we got left? Okay, we're almost done. Let's blitz through it really fast. I play different wavelengths. Sister tries to ask me if we'll blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, drinking alcohol. Cedric smiles at the head with blah, 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 blah. Her feet are hurting, forcing him to stop walking. At this point, she's like, blah, 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 blah. I think I might like you. Chizuru doesn't... Wait, what? Whoa. When did... Chizuru does not say this. Chizuru does not say this. Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, she never says that. Brother, she never says that. She maybe says it in her head, but she never says it to him. Yeah, she never says that to him. Okay. This isn't the first time I've seen this, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I understand they're looking for the, oh, there's a line cutting through, but it's just curved. Now, is there a connection between these pages? Yes, there is. Because that first page is connected to the, to, what do you call it? Okay. So this is the connection. Let me show you the connection. It's not the fucking horizontal line, okay? Is it tilted? Yes, but not in the same way. I would say the way these are tilted is not quite the same way. Like I don't see it. In the art in art, this is called a single perspective. What? What do you mean? What? They have different vanishing point? What? This is a whole technique? What? Alright, a single perspective. Okay. I know about vanishing points. I don't think I've ever heard of single point. It's single point perspective. Okay, well, let's see an actual description that's proper. Yeah, 1 point perspective. Okay, it's called 1 point perspective. Perfect. Perfect. 1 point perspective for dummies. Perfect. Yeah, I know that. Okay. I already know this technique. I just didn't know the name of it. Oh, I get the concept. So the further it is, the more it vanishes. Oh, okay. I guess I can see that. Okay, I guess I can see that, but if the only comparison between these two shots is that they do the 1 point perspective, then I don't know. So the line meant something? No, it's just an art technique. Okay, here, let me explain it to you. This line, this is really close. The closer the line gets to the center, the further something gets away. And then as you get here, it starts to get closer. Now, granted, this doesn't work super well if you think about it, because there's nothing here. The shot is cut off. This doesn't work as well because the shot is cut off. So the line only works in this section. Now, the line application works a lot more effectively here because literally close, far, closer, closer, close. And the shot is tilted. So the application of the line does exist here. Absolutely. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't fucking exist. However, the shot cuts off. That's kind of my issue with the application of how they're talking about it. Now, let me show you what I think is a better comparison, which is a callback to this particular shot. This one is laid out straight. It's not tilted in any way. However, the application definitely still exists. I would say it's a little more sophisticated here, but it definitely still exists. You can definitely do the line and it gets closer. However, the shot being so wide, you don't notice it. However, you can see it like right here with these. So that it is still there. I would argue this is more of a direct comparison considering how the characters are structured and where they are. To me, this is more of a direct comparison to where we are, especially because I've laid this out for you guys in the past. I don't think he's reading YouTube comments. I will in a sec. Remember, I'm alternating between two different ones. Remember, I've laid this out for you guys in the past. There is a direct, like super direct comparison between this episode or this chapter and the other chapter here. Like this is why I'm not a big fan of comparing it to I'm not a big fan of comparing it to the beach. Fuck. This is why I'm not a big fan of comparing this to the beach arc, okay? I think Odaiba is a much better comparison. Is it connected to the beach arc? Yes. But this to me is a blatant callback to Hawaiians. Okay? Okay, I really want you to pay attention to the page structure. Are you noticing a pattern? Literally 4-panel structure, but in reverse. It's a 4-panel structure completely reversed, but really similar. The ground here, the sky here. Chizura's feet in the air, Chizura's feet touching the ground. Chizura's chest on Kazuya's back, Chizura's chest not touching him. Chizura's hands on Kazuya's face, Kazuya's hands on Chizura's legs. Now you look at the shot. Literally, you turn the page. It's the same thing, and again, it's inverted. It is the same thing, and yet again, it is inverted. That is not a coincidence. It takes place at night, and the words are in white. It takes place in the day, and the words are in black. That is not a coincidence. Turn the page. I'll try and get a better one. Sorry, the pages are a little cut off in my folder, so I just got to grab the correct ones. Disconnected. Connected. No one else is there with them now. So now they talk. What is the one thing they don't do here? They don't straight up talk. Yeah, we end with mommy. Now, what's interesting about this? If you go to the chapter just before this one, you're going to see something interesting. It's fucking Kazuya monologuing. Okay, when we go to the chapter before this one, it is Kazuya monologuing. And what do you see? Where's this placed and where's this placed? Where's this placed and where's this placed? Are you noticing a fucking pattern? Chizuru monologues. Scene ends. Kazuya monologues. Scene ends. Oh my god. The scenes are literally in reverse. While this scene ends this sequence, this scene ends the chapter, right? Both scenes end the chapter in a very similar way. But what ends up happening, the shot that starts chapter 383 is the shot that starts after this scene. They're literally flipped over. This shot exists this shot exists at the very end of a chapter, and that shot exists and the next shot exists at the opening of a chapter. This shot right here also exists at the end of the chapter, except this shot exists at the opening of that chapter. Two scenes are two completely separate chapters. Two scenes are in the same exact chapter. Right? So one is like this. It's like one of them is like this. One of them is like this. The other is like this. That's literally, he literally reversed the structure. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit of Twitch and then I'll go back. The perspective of the shot you just showed is weaker visually, but maybe stronger narratively. I disagree with a lot of the posters' points, but the overall idea he comes on, it being the moment the characters understand their koi, is sound to me. I I'm not sure about that still. I think there is basis for what the person is saying. I'm just not sure if I agree with all of it, like you said. There was another one someone posted that's even more similar, in my opinion. If you find it, feel free. While they are both tilted, to be fair, but angle is the same for the other. It's not that this isn't a connection with what Fate is showing. It's that they are conveying different moments, and they do surround the idea of koi versus I. The scene that Fate is breaking down now is where Kazuya realizes his I. Huh. I don't know about that. What I've realized is the whole world turns for you. I don't know about that. From the forest to the trees now and forever. I guess that does somewhat fit the description of I. I guess some of the description fits I, because I is like love for everything. It's an unconditional form of love. And this is an unconditional moment. I don't know if he realized I here. The action that occurs here from both Kazuya and Chizuru, by its nature, is rooted in I as a form of love. Yes. And so theoretically, you could say Kazuya discovered his I here. But didn't he already... He was already protecting her from before that. I don't know. I feel like there's a little more nuance we're missing. It's doing something for another. It's doing something for another without expecting anything back. Which Kazuya did do before his realization. Kazuya did, in fact, do that before his realization. He also did that in the movie date. So, I don't know. Now, you could say there's definitely a connection. One is day, where Kazuya finds his I, and then one is night, where Chizuru finds her koi. In that sense, there is a connection. I can see it. I can see it. But this, to me, is somewhat false. For a very simple reason. For a very, very simple reason. This shot is when Kazuya discovered his I. And it's right after this that he realizes he's in love with Chizuru. So, I don't know about that. Because he jumps in to save her, his koi, I think. You think so? I mean, this is... He just sees someone fall in the water and he jumps in to save them. Like, this doesn't seem like romantic affection to me. I could be wrong. Why does he beat his meat after this? He beats his meat to mommy, mind you. He beats his meat to mommy, mind you. And then he finds out his feelings for Chizuru. It's pure feelings moving him to act. Okay, true. But I would say this act is pretty selfless. He literally almost dies. He literally almost dies from this. That's a pretty selfless act. As a mirror to Hawaiians, which in of itself is a selfless act. And what Reiji creates as a parallel between Hawaiians is the Chizuru's selfless act to Kazuya at that moment. Like, I don't know. I would say afterwards, Kazuya discovers Koi. Sure, he discovers his romantic interest in Chizuru, absolutely. But this specific act, in my opinion, is I. He discovers Koi after, yes. But I would argue this scene where Chizuru and Kazuya are... I think I get it. Okay. I might have pieced it together. I think I understand. I think all of these scenes and their comparisons are rooted in I. That picture is the one that was much better I was talking about. I disagree, but all right. I kind of disagree, but all right. Mostly, like the only thing I can give you credit for on the comparison between these two shots is the structure of the words. That's the only thing I can give credit to it, is the structure of the words. But to me, this shot is very clearly calling to Hawaiians. The structure of the words is the same, yes. That's where I'm just gonna be like, yep, you're correct. However, I would say in all of these shots, there is a interesting parallel. Every single one is rooted in I. What they discover afterwards is Koi. Did you notice that? The actions they take in these moments are all rooted in I. They are unconditionally saving and protecting someone because they care about them. What they discover right afterwards in every single version of these shots is their romantic attraction and desires. Right after this shot, right, Kazuya finds his romantic feelings for Chizuru. Right after Hawaiians, both Kazuya and Chizuru feel incredibly horny for each other. Right after this shot, right, in this shot, I would say they're kind of feeling it like as it's going, but the very act itself is unconditional. Everything they're doing is very unconditional. But then right after, again, all of the romantic tension is in the air. Day public, night private. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, no, I know. Okay. Ooh, cat in the alley. I like that description. Oh. Oh. Fish jumping into the ocean. Ooh, I see what you're cooking, Reiji. Fish jumping into the ocean. Fish in an aquarium. Is he not a fish in an aquarium? Because this is literally simulating the ocean. It's not real. Fish in the ocean, fish in an aquarium. Cat in the alley. What next? I bet Mother Farm will have a shot like this. I mean, Reiji already kind of hinted at that, isn't he? Reiji already kind of hinted at that, but why would a cat be in a farm? That's a weird spot to have a cat. It's not that cats can't be in a farm. It's just a weird spot to have a cat. Yeah, there's already... Yeah, it's right here. Peace under a tree? You mean Kazuya's name? Yeah. We already got this shot, which tells me the shot's going to be fake. Tells me this shot's going to be fake. Okay. Something did change. Okay. The very next day comes the direct consequence of that moment, the kiss inside the taxi. The kiss isn't portrayed as an impulsive act or an experiment. It's a natural consequence of everything that changed that previous night. Okay, I agree. Chizuru chooses to take a genuine leap of faith, using the kiss as a sign that she's finally ready to begin a real relationship. Logically, this is the complete opposite of what we saw back in 380. If she kisses him inside the taxi, Kazuya could naturally interpret this as a green light, confirmation that should have taken a relationship. Let's use some logic. Chizuru is an extremely responsible and serious person. She refused to enter a relationship while uncertain because she was afraid of dragging Kazuya into something that might eventually fail and hurt him. If she gives him a kiss, fully aware that he could interpret it as "I'm ready, let's start dating," then she must also be prepared to accept the implication herself. It's no coincidence that chapter 386 opens the traffic signs at the green traffic light. Yeah. However, such a decisive act doesn't come without consequences for Chizuru. She completely collapses under the emotional intensity at the moment before she manages to get her inside her house. This is the Koi Koguru, okay? The very same night, she prepares dinner for two people, planned to recover and regain energy. She got ready and put on makeup, hoping Kazuya will come back, at least contact her. Minnie wasn't supposed to be there that night. She had already said that she would be moving out the following day. From that point onward, we see several scenes of Chizuru waiting for him. Kazuya, unfortunately confused, did not understand this. The story then shifts to its focus to Chizuru physical reactions as she remembers the intense moments and continues thinking about Kazuya. What is Chizuru doing now? They didn't dare contact each other, but that night, the manager called Chizuru. This is where the current mystery begins. If one part of the equation has already been resolved, then the only other part remains. What Chizuru is trying to do now is complete what she believes she's still missing. She wants to accomplish what, in her eyes, would be something significant to give everything she has, or make a genuine sacrifice for Kazuya, so that she can stand beside him as an equal. And sacrifice is part of the hero's journey. Sacrifice is part of the hero's journey. I just think, right? So sacrifice action, plot point number 2. Okay, so plot point number 1. When was our first threshold? Wait, hold on. Before we continue anything, when was the first threshold? I know when the second threshold is, but when was the first threshold? Approaching the innermost cave. Maybe the first threshold is, okay. Road of Trials test. What's Whale's Belly? Enemies, allies, obstacles. Maybe the first threshold is Umi? Like when Kazuya and Chizuru call each other? Maybe that's the first threshold. No. End of the date? No. The story begins. The hero's journey begins when Kazuya leaves in the car. I believe the story begins when Kazuya leaves in the car. Act 1, separation. Act 1 is separation. The ordinary world, a call of adventure, bargain without knowing, or refusal of the call. So it starts like right as we get into it. Meeting the mentor. So that's literally when Minnie goes to Chizuru's house and when Minnie goes to Kazuya's house. Okay? Supernatural aid, meaning the white spirit. Right? We also see Chizuru talking to, what is it? To Sayuri and stuff. Okay? When Ruka assaulted Kazuya. No, that is the ordeal. That is the, that right here, I believe, is the ordeal. Approach the approach. Okay. I can lay it out actually. Hold on. So, yeah, we have the meeting of the mentor. Minnie talks to Kazuya. 390. Meeting of the mentor continues until. So I think meaning of the mentor ends. Let me check where. 393. 393 is where meaning of the mentor ends. Because it's when Kazuya has this, and the road is laid out for us, okay? So the goal list is laid out for us. This matters here. Road of trials and tests. Whale's belly, enemies, allies, obstacles. So this is 393, okay? So 393 onward is 390. So and then we get to 394, 395, 396, and I think 397. This is the first threshold. This is the first threshold. I think. Crossing the first threshold, final test, plot point. Either that, so it's either 397 or here, 399. Either 397 or 399. Let's read what they describe as the first threshold. The call to action, the journey begins, the mentor, trials of worth. The part of the adventure after the mentor has gone and the hero starts the adventure. The hero is met with obstacles. These obstacles would be the things that test is resolved. The obstacles can be the most anything, enemies, foreign lands, creatures. Okay, so no. Okay. First threshold, determination. This part involves the hero finally reaching the first climactic goal and approaching it. This would be the first important test to overcome and bring the hero one step closer to the ultimate goal of the story and journey. The first threshold is the first plot point in which the story takes a dramatic shift both in the mental perspective of the hero and the physical journeys that path that lies before him. Perhaps the great truth is revealed or a powerful character entity is felt. Either way, the event must be highly impactful to the hero and motivate him to continue forward. The test of success and growth, self-esteem on his lips. Conversely, it could also entail a great victory, but a tragic loss of some kind, which fuels his determination to... Okay. Either this is the first threshold, which I don't know about that. That's possible. Or the first threshold is 397. Or you could say, or actually maybe the first threshold is like 397 to 399. Could be. The part of the story is when, after the rush of completing the first threshold, the hero is set onto an even more perilous path. A foreboding high danger and high stakes seem to loom in the horizon as the hero ventures deeper into the story, overcoming deathly challenges and stunning encounters. It is here in the maw of darkness where the first shadow of madness begins to creep in. Oh, no. Okay. 397 is the first threshold. 397 is the first threshold. You want to know how I know? You want to know how I know this? This is the end of 399. This is 399. Yeah. No, this is the first threshold. This is the first threshold. Okay. 397 is the first threshold. 399 is into the maw. Okay. Approach the innermost cave, into the maw. Okay. Heroes, the sacred... Okay, so based on that, based on the fact that the first threshold is 397, and that required sacrifice from Chizuru and a sacrifice from Kazuya, I think there's going to be another action and another sacrifice. This is going to be plot point 2. Okay? We got the midpoint, right? We got the midpoint in the reversal and the new rules. We need plot point 2. And I think we're building to plot point 2. Plot point 2 is going to be important. I think is going to be connected to Chizuru giving up her home, to why Chizuru is doing the play. Like, this is going to be big. The third threshold's going to be fucking insane. Act 3, unification. Separation, supreme ordeal, unification. Okay. Wasumi the elixir. Elixir theft. The ultimate boon or reward. Elixir theft. Okay, so what chapter was it? 426 is the 426 is the second threshold. Elixir theft. The ultimate boon. The abyss. It is in this part of the story where the harrowing of the soul begins. Here the hero succumbs to his darkness and his blind virtuous state. The hero loses all semblance of what made him the chosen hero. He may continue his journey, but the path he takes to reach his goal warp and bleed, usually with the blood of unnecessary bloodshed. The mind of the hero in the abyss is a beast caught between a cliff and the forest fire. Fear of the future, hatred of the present, and resentment of the past. At this point, no elixir or salve could heal the hero's darkness. Only one thing could quench his growing madness and tortured soul: the distant sparkle of the goal's reward, boon, and victory, which leads to the second threshold. Oh. Okay, never mind. Yeah, the only thing keeping Kazuya going at this point is Chizuru. That's literally the only thing keeping him going. Yeah, you see it right here. The only thing keeping him going is Chizuru. Okay. Elixir. Oh, I think I know what the elixir could be. The elixir, quote unquote, is this, yeah. Unnecessary bloodshed, remember? Oh, Sumi fucking bleeds, yeah. Sumi bleeds, yeah. So I think this is the elixir. This is the ultimate boon, right? It's the big thing he got. It's the big ace up his sleeve. Mother's Farm is Kazuya's big ace up his sleeve. Okay, let me skim a little bit through YouTube side. Kazuya and Chizuru are the only characters that share the same number of syllables in their names. Okay. I think you can trust the official translations more than the Reddit post. Oh, I know. I speak to dude, don't worry. I speak to actual people who understand Japanese and can help me translate. I both speak to fluent Japanese readers and like English speakers who can do some translation work. I think he made was not the same idea that her, and I think the condom was not dirty joke of the author, but a way to show his mind. Okay. Definitely in a blind today, guys. The receptionist must have booked me for a therapist appointment. Okay. Well, I hope you're okay, Bulver. Day and night. Also, my comment with your opinion on it. Which comment are you interested in? Day and night? The condom thing? I'm not really sure what to comment on with the condom thing. The abyss equals Ruka. The kiss in the taxi equals the first threshold. No. No. The first threshold is not the kiss in the taxi. No. Speculating that Mother Farm Day is not going to go as planned. Lol, rain or car failure or something. We'll worry about that when we get to it, but I don't know. for this act. Okay. Okay, so I would say the elixir is Mother's Farm. Unnecessary bloodshed. You can apply that to Sumi, right? She literally bleeds. Right. Pretty much the entire Sumi date is unnecessary, right? It's unnecessary bloodshed. Okay. Let's see where we are. Okay. Approach the innermost cave. Heroes Gomo's sacred marriage, meeting the shadow self. Right. That fits Ruka pretty well. Meeting the shadow self. Ruka is literally his shadow self. Wild bride and bridegroom, meeting the goddess god at one meant with father and mother, finding love in the underworld. Interesting. Descent into the... So this is the abyss. Ordeal, dismemberment, wandering, harrowing of the soul. Yeah, that's like right after Ruka sexually assaults him. Elixir, theft, ultimate boon, reward. Okay. Yep. Kazuya goes to Sumi. He gets the elixir, which is the ultimate boon in this case is the Mother's Farm. Second threshold, Kazuya beats his meat and he lost who he is. Refusal of the return. Realm of the wild men or women. This fits really well with 427. Literally 427 fits it to a T. Realm of the wild men and women. The descriptions Kibe gives, the descriptions Curry gives, the way Curry talks and interacts, right? And Kazuya, what does he do here? He refuses to return to their world. He literally runs away from them. He refuses to return to this world. There is a refusal of a return. I just didn't clock it. Okay. The refusal of the return in this particular case is Kazuya refusing to return to the ordinary world and going back to the dream world. He doesn't want to go back to the ordinary world. He goes back to the dream world. The world where he's glowing. Okay. Then we had the whole Ruka and Umi thing. Rescue from without. What's rescue from without? It's when someone saves the hero, right? Where would that have been? The return? The hero may be helped by his mentor or some supernatural force and return back to the realization about the importance of his quest, his life, and his purpose. And from this contemplation, the hero, with all the scars of his past actions, heals himself and returns to the group and quest. Feels like Kazuya just kind of did that on his own. I'm not going to lie. Ruka's mom. Oh, wait, wrong timing. Yeah, it kind of feels like Kazuya just kind of did that on his own. Either that or I'm crazy. Rescue from without. Death of dreams. We're definitely not here. Dark night of the soul. The realization. We are definitely not here. We are definitely not there. Maybe rescue from without has not happened yet. Maybe the rescue from without has not happened yet. Granted, Minnie did show up in the recent chapter. You know, his mentor is here. His mentor is here. Yeah, we got a little sidetracked. What the fuck's this? Yeah, night is a big theme for Kazuya's character right now. Especially with like the night hiding his like deepest, darkest desires. Okay. What Chizuru is trying to do now is complete what she believes she's still missing. She wants to accomplish what she blah 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 blah. Make a genuine sacrifice for Kazuya. Yep. Okay. We saw the word Chizuru used as sasaguru, which is used for sacred offering, sacrifice, or when someone dedicates their entire life to it. When did she say this? When the manager called yeah. Okay. This is not okay. Tips. Okay, tips when writing, friends. Tips when writing, friends. When you are referring to as, and if they say it later, on me. If they say this later, that is on me. Okay? But when you refer to words a character used, reference the page, reference the chapter. You need to. Don't just say a character said this and then don't tell me where. Because I have no idea where the fuck this is. You were just talking about her talking to the manager, so who the fuck she's speaking to here? Like, when did she say this? Who did she say this to? Did she say it to nobody? In her head? I have no fucking clue. Always cite your sources. Every time. Rule number 1. We've gradually seen her taking care of several important aspects of her life, resolving some of her financial issues, putting her grandparents' house up for sale, definitively rejecting Umi, trying to talk things out with Ruka, and dedicating herself to rehearsing for the stage play. Again, don't all of these things kind of mirror Kazuya? It's like, yeah, they're resolving the issues, but are they really facing them? They're resolving the issues, but are they really facing them? So they kind of have like this paralleling broken hero's journey. I think they have this paralleling broken hero's journey. For a long time, however, one particular point doesn't make sense to me. Why does Chizuru place so much importance on rehearsal for this play? Why is there so much... Again, there's one thing I can say about the play for certain. I'm like 1,000% sure about this. The play is for Kazuya. I am like 1,000% certain about this. The play is for Kazuya. How? I don't know. Maybe it's financial. Maybe she wants him to see her in the play. I don't fucking know. The play is for him somehow. The play is for him somehow, some way. Maybe she succeeds financially, right? Maybe she thinks she needs to succeed financially as a mirror to him. Maybe, she through her performance, she'll find her love. I don't fucking know. But to me, a reoccurring feeling I keep getting, and there's no like 100% basis for this, is that Chizuru's play is for Kazuya. Okay. Why is the play being treated as though it were the final piece of the puzzle? We still don't know the complete answer, but there is an interesting detail. She's now working with director Toga Kushi, the very director she once wanted to work with and rejected her very specifically. Back in chapter 52, despite Chizuru delivering an outstanding audition, Tokaguchi did not choose her for the role. Instead, because of a nepotism, he cast another actress. At the time, however, Chizuru told Kazuya that the real reason was that she simply wasn't talented enough yet. Back then, Chizuru was explained that if she were chosen and could begin working seriously as an actress, she would quit her job as a rental girlfriend. There you go. A job she had originally taken in order to support her dream of becoming an actress. This leads to what I believe is the most logical possibility. What if the phone call we never get to hear what day also represented a second chance, a chance to accomplish what she couldn't achieve back then? That would make sense. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us had that theory too, that like if she succeeds in this play, she can quit rental. Or she can be a full-time actress and she can quit rental. And if she can quit rental, she can date him for real. You know? But again, it's another one of those illusions. You know, it's another one of those illusions where it's like, cool, quitting this job isn't going to solve your problem. Right? If that is in fact the case, it's not going to solve the problem. The problem being the issues of their relationship. The things they're not talking about. The conflicts they're not dealing with. Hi, Mommy. Hi, Ruka. Hi, Umi. Hi, Minnie. Even Sumi to some degree. Right? Chizuru entrusted Kazuya with Sumi, never considering Sumi might catch feelings for him. In that way, some fucking mentor. Now, granted, it's not really her fault. Like, how the fuck is it her fault that Sumi would catch feelings for Kazuya? But at the same time, like, she would never consider that, right? So that's some part play fault on Chizuru. And another fault could be in that it's Kanakazuya's fault, right? Never talking to Chizuru about, like, how close he actually got to Sumi, right? Chizuru has no fucking clue. And at the same time, Kazuya doesn't consider how he's leading Sumi on in many ways. But also, Sumi's has a part to... Okay, it's literally everyone. I'm gonna shut up. Now, however, the situation is exactly the opposite. If this is her opportunity to finally leave behind her job as a rental girlfriend, and that's the thing. Would she succeed or would she fail? Right? What if she succeeds and it still doesn't go her way? Again, a repeating motif. Everything about this arc, to me, seems rooted in success. You're gonna win. It's gonna go great. And you're not gonna get what you want. You're gonna win and you're not gonna get what you want. And I think the reference to what is it, La La Land, is quite fitting in that regard. You know? Because the characters in that one kind of win. You know, they get what they wanted to do. But they lose each other. So I think that's going to be an important thing to kind of explore. Now, I'm not saying their relationship isn't going to work. I would be really... Now, I'm going to be straight with you guys. If Kazuya and Chizuru don't work out, I will be very disappointed. Like, very, very disappointed. I'm going to be like, Reishi, what the fuck? And I'm saying this if the manga ends like this. I'm saying this if the manga ends like this. I'm like, Reishi, what the fuck? Like, I understand so many things can go wrong. But the moment we give up on love, bro, that's when it fucking sucks. Okay, so I really hope Reishi does not go that direction. Could there be a fallout in their relationship and they repair it later? Cool, I'm down for that. I don't mind that, right? That I'm down for that. But if they just don't work out, no, man. I don't vibe with that. If this is her opportunity to finally leave behind her job as a girlfriend and begin working as an actress, the very future Kazuya always encouraged her to pursue, and it explains why she's putting absolutely everything she has into this opportunity. Because of this achievement, it would also deeply connect to the future of their relationship. The last part contains some speculation and predictions. It may not come true as written. Okay. I'll give you a thumbs up. I don't agree with everything they said. I think they need to cite their sources a little more. I learned some interesting things. Like, I learned 1-point perspectives, right? I learned something new. I learned about the 1-point perspective. Technically, I already knew it. I just didn't, like, understand the concept very well. Like, I already knew about vanishing points, for instance. I just didn't understand there was literally a fucking line that, like, reflected that. Some of this stuff I don't fully agree with. I would say the start is, like, the weakest point. And while there are absolutely parallels, I'm not going to pretend like there's no fucking parallels, okay? There are absolutely 1000% parallels. You are right. This is a parallel. You are right. The one I connect a little more to this, even though you're right, is kind of the is Hawaiians. I kind of connect Hawaiians a little more. Now, what is the immediate connection to Hawaiians? I have no clue. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what the immediate connection to Hawaiians is. There's a more palpable and deeply rooted connection to Hawaiians, specifically because of Chizuru's presence in it. Chizuru is not present here. It is purely about Kazuya. Whereas in Hawaiians, there's a very deeply rooted element to Chizuru's character in all of it. And I think that's what's interesting about the Hawaiians chapter. I think I kind of now understand it a little better. What's interesting about the Hawaiians chapter is this. Right, so the chapter I compared it to. It's told from Kazuya's perspective, right? A lot of it is very much told from Kazuya's perspective. Okay? And when you go to 227, right, this chapter, the framing is often Kazuya's eyes, like literally Kazuya seeing Chizuru, right? This is really interesting because Kazuya and Chizuru don't see each other in the walk home, right? Kazuya and Chizuru do not see each other in the walk home. They're facing away from the other person. Okay? Right? They're facing away from the other person in the other one. Here, they were looking at each other. Here, Chizuru is describing herself a lot, and Kazuya is passive. Okay? And it ends with mommy. Why is this interesting? Okay, why is this interesting? Specifically because I think there's a duality between us seeing things from Kazuya's perspective and us experiencing Chizuru's perspective. We're seeing Kazuya's perspective, but we're experiencing Chizuru's. So there's this clash happening that's really fascinating. Chizuru is the one talking in this entire chapter, right? This whole thing, Chizuru is the one talking. I think that's very central here because there's this bridging happening in 383 where it's kind of both, right? It's a very Chizuru chapter. You hear Chizuru's thoughts, and yet Kazuya's talking. It's the opposite in the Hawaiian's chapters. You hear Kazuya's thoughts, and you see Kazuya's perspective, but you hear Chizuru talk. I think that's kind of important. I think it's that shift in perspective. Now, after the kiss in Hawaiians, I wonder if there's a scene that's a little similar. I'm going to go on a wild limb and say I think this is a reference to both Hawaiians and this arc, which is very fitting because Hawaiians is a reference to this arc. Okay. Okay, we did a lot of talking. We're likely entering the Death of Dreams area, I think, and then the cave and the wave crashing will be the third threshold. I see why you do the hero's journey stuff now. It's fun. I told you, it's interesting. Hero's journey's great, dude. Plus, like, it's very, like, blatantly the hero's journey. It's not, I'm not just doing it just for funsies. Like, literally, the very structure of the hero's journey just straight up follows it. It's, like, right there. Like, it's very blatantly the hero's journey. Kazuya feels way past the first threshold to me. The story isn't testing whether he'll choose Chizuru anymore. Now it's testing whether that choice can survive the biggest emotional... Well, yeah, we already talked about that. No. We're just... Goku, you're misunderstanding. No, we were recapping where we were. Kazuya is nowhere near the first threshold. He is... Kazuya is like here. We're past the second threshold. No, Kazuya's like here. Like somewhere around here. Rescue from without. That's kind of where he is. What's rescue from without? Refusal of the return, the magic flight, rescue from without. Just as the hero may need guides and assistants to set out on his quest, often they must have powerful guides and rescuers to bring them back to everyday life, especially if the hero has been wounded or weakened by the experience. The hero may have to be brought back from the supernatural adventure by assistance from without. This is to say, the world may have to come and get him. For the bliss of the deep abode, it is not lightly abandoned in favor of the disorder of the wakened state. I think we read this yesterday. Society is jealous of those who remain away from it and will come knocking at the door. And we literally see Kibe and Curry being jealous of Kazuya. If the hero is unwilling, the disturber suffers an ugly shock. But on the other hand, if the summoned one is only delayed, sealed in by the death-like rapture of the perfect being, an apparent rescue is effected, and the adventurer returns. I think we're kind of here. This definitely has not happened yet. Okay, if the hero is triumphant, wins by the blessing of the goddess or the gods, and is specifically commissioned to return to the world with some elixir for the restoration of society, the final stage of the adventure is supported by all the powers of the supernatural patron. On the other hand, if the trophy has been attained against the opposition of the guardian, or if the hero's wish to return to the world has been resented by the gods or demons, then the last stage of the mythological round becomes a lively, often comical pursuit. This flight may be complicated by the marvels of magical obstruction and evasion. Okay, we're definitely in the magic flight. I think that's kind of where we are. But we have not reached rescue from without. I think next chapter might be the rescue from without. Specifically because it's work experience. Kazuya being brought into the work experience definitely means like he's going to return to the real world. And someone in that work experience might kind of bring him back. Yeah, there's some obvious parallels to the hero's journey. I take back Ruka's mom. It's a pretty good timing. Yeah, no, it's like once I realized like what Reiji was doing, I'm like, oh, it's straight up the hero's journey. And then when you consider that Kazuya literally wants to be referred to as a hero, Minnie calls him a hero when he goes to the children's the what do you call it? The kids center. When he goes to the kids center, the kids call him the Great Demon King. And he's like, no, call me the hero. He literally wants to be a hero. That is not a fucking coincidence. The fact that Kazuya literally wants to be a hero and he's now undergoing step by step the hero's journey is not a fucking coincidence. Okay. Let me grab some water. I have a bit of a headache. I'm going to grab some water and then we'll get in. Okay, so yeah, for Mate Goat, I know I was a little harsh at first. I do apologize. I get very heated sometimes when stuff I like is misrepresented. So I do apologize. I do think this is a good post. This is a pretty interesting post. Again, don't agree with everything. I think you got a lot better later on. Again, I think you just need to cite some of your sources and some of the words that people say. Someone on YouTube is floating the comments. Yeah, I know. Yeah. To be fair, is anyone else commenting? To be fair, bro, is anyone else commenting? Like, no one else is commenting. If it bothers people, like, okay. But I don't mind someone commenting a lot, like, you know, it just as long as like they have something interesting to say and they're not spamming. Let's see. You could do Minnie's journey in the journey. What? Uka is in the bed as the abyss in the act. I think you haven't happened. Blah blah blah. I think for Rent-A-Girl, for instance, is a long story. The hero's journey have multiple times. You don't. How do I say your name? Azu? Peepas? I'm just gonna say Azu. Azu, you don't need to call me every time. I'll read your comment. You're the only one commenting on YouTube. Azupi? You're the only one commenting on YouTube. You don't need to tag my name. I'm not blind. Um, I'll read your comment. If it bothers chat, maybe tone it down a little bit. Just like be a little Azupi Opez. I'm just gonna call you Opez. That's easier. I'm just gonna call you Opez. That's easier. Yeah. Yeah. Just maybe don't like. Maybe concise what you want to say. Okay. Look, I do you read YouTube. I'm not going to read YouTube all the time. I'm going to alternate. Sometimes I read YouTube more. You don't need to I don't want you to spam one chat or the other just to get my attention. Okay? Like just say what you want to say, be respectful, take it easy. And if my opinion of multiple journeys, that means the manga could start a new cycle or 2 or 3 after this one. What? Maybe they both are the same step of the journey of the hero. I mean, I think the manga has done journey multiple times. No, not like this. No, not like this. This isn't, no. The hero's journey was never quite done like this. No, this is a very blatant hero's journey. It follows the steps to a fucking T. This definitely did not happen in, like, other parts of the manga. Not like this. This is very, very blatant. Now, could you say there's a parallels to Hero's Journey? Yes, there absolutely is. Hawaiians is kind of like a hero's journey. Hawaiians is very much kind of like a hero's journey. It literally has separation, unification, the supreme ordeal. Like, it has all the stuff. But the way Hawaiians does it isn't quite the same. Yeah, while the characters have undergone heroes' journeys, this feels a little different. It's a very condensed, very specific application of the hero's journey to challenge what a hero even is. I don't think I do something bad. I'm not saying you're doing something bad. I think you're misunderstanding. Just because I am telling you maybe don't spam chat, I'm not saying you're doing something bad. That's all. By the way, I'm curious, how old are you? You seem kind of young. You don't have to tell me your exact age if it's like sensitive. If it's something, if it's sensitive, you don't have to tell me your exact age. You just seem a little young. In Monitor, they often do it multiple times. Yes, of course. Hero's Journey is just a very like common thing. I'm united. What? United. What does that mean? I'm a foreigner. Oh. Oh, your stuff is being translated. Interesting. You're a foreigner. Oh. I mean, if it's easier, you can write in a different language. If it's easier, you can write in a different language. I might understand you better. Sometimes that happens. 34, huh? You're older than me. Okay. Oh, I was going to grab water first. Oof. Oof. Yeah, I'm going to grab water. I'll be right back. Do you understand French? My mom does. It auto translates. So if you write in French, it'll translate it. Whew. Yeah, if you just write in French, it'll translate it. What I was trying to explain is that the manga doesn't follow a simple form of structure, but a more complex one where each step is a mini arc in of itself, sometimes apart. Well, yes, I know. But like this current saga, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm trying to say. You're right that the characters have had a hero's journey for now. Yes, they've had multiple hero's journeys. Kazuya's has had a lot of hero's journeys. This particular hero's journey, what Reiji is doing right now, the character's undergoing a hero's journey, this is a lie. Okay? This journey is a lie. Because everything they're doing is kind of a lie. That's not who they are. What they're doing right now is not who they are. It is an illusion. And the best example is La La Land. La La Land is a great example of this. It is a lot of it structures itself around kind of the illusion of the hero's journey. Now, I don't think this is going to end like La La Land, but it's discussing about the problems presented in La La Land is literally what they're struggling with as characters, right? Like they definitely do not have a relationship like La La Land, not at all. However, what they're struggling with is like La La Land. In particular, the illusion of the hero's journey. We are following the hero's journey to a T very, very specifically because this is the illusion of a hero's journey. It's not actually a real hero's journey because they're not heroes. Kazuya is like here, and this is the thing that kind of proves it. It's a bad day where the hero will experience a fall instead of a rise. No. It's a person thinking they're the hero. They're not the hero. It's when you think you're a hero, when you become convinced you're a hero, when everyone calls you a hero, so you start believing you're a hero instead of actually being a real hero. Okay? And the little mini arc that proves it to me. So Reiji, when this released in the volume, when this little arc released in the volume, Reiji said that this arc is central to everything going on in the manga. At that point, it is probably one of the most important arcs in the manga. Now, when the kids want to play this game, okay, when the kids want to play this game, they're like, oh, I want to defeat the Great Demon King. There he is, the Great Demon King. The Demon King, in hero stories, especially in isekais and in fantasy stories in Japan, is usually the final boss. He's the final bad guy. Now, there's usually subversions of this, of course, right? There's often subversions of this, but the Great Demon King is always the final villain. For instance, in Dragon Ball literally follows a kind of traditional hero's journey. The original Dragon Ball, classic Dragon Ball, follows a kind of traditional hero's journey. Piccolo, the final boss that Goku fights, is literally called the Great Demon King Piccolo. Like, he's literally the Great Demon King. Okay? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Kazuya tells the kids, I told you to call me the hero. You are the root of all evil. The kids call him the root of all evil. He is the villain. Piccolo's dad. Yeah. Well, Piccolo's dad is just technically him. Piccolo's just a clone of his dad, technically, but he's also his son. It's weird. He's his son, but he's also his clone. It's very weird. As an example of a hero's day in Anakin Skywalker, everything seems standard, but it's a fall. Yes, Anakin is the illusion of a hero's journey. He's not the hero. He is someone who was conditioned he was the hero. Anakin is a great example of this. Yes, I even compared Kazuya to Anakin. Yes, Anakin is a great example to this because Anakin undergoes a false hero's journey. Everyone tells him he's a hero. He is the promised hero. Everyone says he's going to change everything. And because they restrict him to this role that he's supposed to play, to the role of the Jedi, he eventually fails because they could not change. They fail Anakin by being so rigid in their beliefs that he is the one who's going to change everything, that because in their own beliefs as Jedi, and being so rigid in the light, they ultimately fall to darkness. That's why they lost, right? The imbalance existed specifically because the Jedi were too pure. The light was so strong it's controlled too much. So naturally it gets overtaken by darkness. Right? The Sith take over. The irony was the Jedi were speaking in their own absolutes, not realizing that they were acting in many ways like the Sith. And it came back around to beat them. Okay? That's kind of Kazuya. Kazuya is like an absolute light. He's kind of like an absolute light. And absolutes of anything ultimately corrupt. This is something that I think we kind of see in the recent chapter. Ruka is a character very much being consumed by the darkness, right? Literally, the text here reads, there are two types of people in the world, those who dwell in the darkness and those who shine a light onto it. What's interesting is, I would argue, this scene very much makes you question who's shining a light and who is dwelling in the darkness. Right? I would argue this scene very much makes you question who's shining a light and who's dwelling in the darkness. Because in many respects, I would say Kazuya is dwelling in the darkness. I would say in many respects, Kazuya is dwelling in the darkness. For a very simple reason. He never leaves his room. He stays in his room. Ruka actually gets out. And the framing of Ruka is very much often in light, right? When you see Ruka, it's mostly in light. She's surrounded by mist, but she's mostly in light. When you see Kazuya, he's regularly shown in shadow, like almost consistently. So it makes you wonder, who's the dweller? Is Kazuya the one actually dwelling in darkness? Because when you first cut to Kazuya, he's literally in shadows. When you start with Ruka, she's not in shadows. Now, she is dwelling. She's dwelling on something. But is she actually in shadows? Now, I am interested in the specific text for Mr. Fish here. I don't know if there's a little more nuance that we're missing. There might be a little more nuance that we never quite got. I don't know if Crumpy answered me. He did see it, but he didn't answer. Ruka and Kazuya's double fall. Well, Kazuya looks like he's rising, and Ruka looks like she's falling. Go. Come. What's wrong? Okay. Yeah, so no. The framing, the presentation, is that Ruka is falling, Kazuya is rising. That's what it looks like. It could be the opposite. Ruka might actually rise, and Kazuya could fall. Ruka grows up and Kazuya is Chiso's potential partner. No, it's not that Kazuya is going to cheat. No. It's not that Kazuya is going to cheat. That's not what I think. I think Kazuya will achieve everything he wanted to, and that's how he's going to fall. Ruka is going to fuck up everything she wanted to, but that's how she's going to rise. I think. Kazuya, no. Don't take it literally. Kazuya would never cheat. Don't take it literally. I don't think Kazuya would ever really cheat. I don't think so. That's not really Kazuya's character. He's not going to cheat. He was fucking sexually assaulted. No. It's not, he's not in a relationship, so it's not cheating. He was sexually assaulted. It's, no. If he had sex with Ruka willingly, it is cheating, period. You not being in a relationship with someone doesn't mean you can't cheat. You betrayed your own feelings. That is cheating still. If he chose to have sex with Ruka, it is still cheating. Period. He emotionally betrayed Chizuru. He said he loved her and then he had sex with another girl. So how the fuck should I believe you actually love me? It is cheating. It's betrayal. Period. No. Okay. Let's read. So we already read this, so let's close it. Okay, let's see what Varicus had to say. Well, Ruka thought, okay, right after seeing Ruka and Umi, certainly sounds like they will team up, but that feels like a very obvious bait. Well, Ruka thought about it, so it was half a bait. Moving on to this week's analysis, we see Ruka thinking about Umi. The way she remembers their conversation leads her thoughts in a particular way. Oh yeah, I just realized I haven't been playing music. Would you guys like music? I haven't been playing music. I had music in the background. I'm listening to it, but it hasn't been playing, so I guess I'll play it. Okay. Oh. She thinks that Umi must have tried to get her to collaborate with him. She doesn't like that. She knows that it would be wrong, and she tells herself that she can't let herself be tricked into doing it. But she thinks that Umi might be serious after all, even if he seemed shallow. It might actually work to collaborate with him on a shared goal. And it might not even be that bad, even if it was a little unfair. You know what's interesting? The collaborating on a shared goal thing, collaborating on a shared goal thing, isn't that just the movie arc? Isn't that just the movie arc? Huh, that's weird. Ruka's having a movie arc with Umi? But it's not about a movie? Weird. After all, she is sure she can make Kazuya happier than Chizuru. So that would ultimately be to his benefit. Also, why would that be? Who would they be to judge her when they were the ones who went behind everyone's back first? She would be happy if Kazuya and her could fall in love without this turning ugly. But Kazuya just won't fall for her. So it's his fault that she has to go to such lengths. I think he put it very succinctly. I think he said it very, very well. This here feels like the start of Ruka's villain arc. You might already have thought of her as a villain, but this is not what I mean. Ruka doesn't feel like what she did was wrong, even if you think it was. But right now, she knows that she is about to do is wrong. We see it clearly in the beginning. She knows that it will be wrong to collaborate with Umi to destroy Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, but she justifies doing it anyway. I think she will be the one to contact Umi, and it will be her who suggests a collaboration. Ruka might claim that Umi made her do it, but this isn't true. Umi didn't suggest a collaboration, and it was also never explicitly shown that it was his intention. This is Ruka's idea. She just tries to pretend that it isn't. And I think that's how Ruka will face herself, right? The way Ruka can face herself and recognize she's the monster is by getting that call out and Umi literally saying, I never said any of this. You did. You assumed what I wanted to do. This is your idea. And that is how Ruka will realize she's the monster. And I think that's meant to parallel Kazuya and how he realizes he's not the hero, he's the monster. So maybe it is a double fall, right? Maybe it is a double fall. Who knows? Right? We're seeing Ruka fall, not realizing Kazuya's falling too. She just tries to pretend that it isn't. Ruka knows that she will be doing bad things, but she tries to put the blame on others so that she can justify doing them. Ruka is convinced that Umi is a shady guy, so it is natural to think that he would come up with an evil plan. Isn't it so childish? Like, the way he puts it, it's so perfect. He's putting it so perfectly because that's literally Ruka. It's very childish. That's literally how she's thinking. This makes it easy for Ruka to disassociate from it and to avoid acknowledging that she herself is the one who came up with the plan. I think Umi will betray her in the end, showing that Ruka was the only one who actually wanted to destroy Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, despite telling Kazuya that she couldn't bring herself to do it. And isn't that interesting, specifically because before she had the what do you call it? There was some doubt to Ruka being the villain in Hawaiians, because Mommy was the one trying to destroy it, right? Mommy was the one trying to destroy it then, right? So you couldn't really blame Ruka, right? Ruka never really helped Mommy directly. She never went out of her way to help Mommy. But what was Ruka doing in Hawaiians? Right? What did Ruka do first in Hawaiians? I would argue Ruka was already trying to do exactly what Mommy wanted to do, and that's why Mommy wanted her to side with her. Right? Now think about that, seriously. Ruka forcibly kissed Kazuya, threw a condom at Chizuru to try to get her to back away, and then she said she's just doing this so that she can keep them apart. Right? She lies, and she lies to Chizuru to try to get her to keep her distance. She kind of tears them apart, and she doesn't think what she's doing is wrong. And what does she do? She blames it on them, right? It's their fault for getting serious, right? I'm just playing the game. And then when Mommy comes in, Mommy's the bigger bad, right? Mommy's the bigger bad. So you kind of just don't really think of Ruka doing something bad in Hawaiians. Mommy's the big bad, right? So the blame suddenly shifts from Ruka to Mommy. You don't really view Ruka as the villain anymore, nor does Ruka view herself as the villain because she protected them in that moment, right? She protected them in that moment, therefore she's not the villain. But now, if she does everything herself, right? She does everything herself and keeps telling herself it's someone else's idea, only to realize it was always just her. She did all this. Nobody else made her do this. She did all of this. Then it becomes very, very interesting. Oh, you were the villain all along. You just kept telling yourself you weren't. And wouldn't this be such a great reframe of everything up until now with Ruka's character? Specifically, the sexual assault. And all the other past instances of sexual assault. Where it's like, no, you were sexually assaulting him this entire time. You were the villain. You just kept telling yourself you weren't. That's it. That's okay. That's the setup for it. That's clearly the setup for it. This makes Ruka feel incredibly human. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I skipped some stuff. Let me go back. God, why is my eye itching? Oh, I'm stupid. Sorry, I gotta wash my eye. I touched my cat and then I touched my eye. So now my eye's starting to itch. I'm wondering why it was itching. now, this brings up a really interesting piece of detail. We've been talking about the hero's journey for a hot minute. But what makes this really interesting is that every villain is the hero of their own story. Every villain is the hero of their own story. We've already established how Kazuya is the villain and he's perceiving himself as the hero. Ruka is that dark mirror, right? Ruka is literally that dark mirror kind of spelling it out for you. She's literally the person who's the villain perceiving herself as the hero. She is the illusion of the hero's journey, when in reality she's always been the villain. What Reiji is doing, and I've said this in the past few chapters, Reiji is doing what he did in Hawaiians. He is breaking Ruka's image. A lot of people have a very perceived image of Ruka's character. They look at her in a very particular way, especially Ruka fans. Ruka fans are very, very defensive of Ruka. They love Ruka to fucking death. She's a good girl. She can't do anything bad. And what Reiji is doing is reframing this whole idea of people can't do bad things, right? Just because they're a girl or just because they're a certain way. In that same way, just because someone looks like a bad guy, it doesn't mean they actually are a bad guy. Case in point, Umi. I still stand by this idea that I don't think Umi's actually a bad person. He just looks shady and does things that are kind of shady. I don't think he's actually a shitty person. And I think Ruka, in this particular case, is the opposite. Ruka looks like a good girl. She's a kid. She can't possibly do bad things. She is doing bad things. 100%. And Reiji did talk about in his Twitter space, I recall vividly, like, there was a part where he was kind of concerned about adapting some of the Ruka stuff, because at the time when he was going to write the Ruka stuff, it kind of died over, so it's fine. But at the time when he was adapting the Ruka stuff, there was things going on in the anime industry where a lot of men were being outed for being sexual predators and like pieces of shit. So a lot of the women were like trying to rally together. And so the editor at the time was a little worried that like, oh, maybe this is a story, not a good time to put this story. But Reiji's like, no, I'm going to stick with this story. This is what I'm going to write. And luckily it blew over and it's still fine. Like he's still able to create the story and there's no issues. But yeah, this is what Reiji is writing, is like everybody, like people can often deceive themselves into thinking they're the hero when they can very much be the villain. And it doesn't matter what your gender is. Everyone can do it, you know? And while some people have certain privileges based on their gender, so do other people. You know, everybody has privileges. And at the same time, we need to start seeing who the real minorities are and who the people who are actually struggling are. In this particular case, I think we're not seeing how Chizuru is struggling and how Kazuya is absolutely privileged as fuck. Like, I think that's a big thing that we're definitely not seeing. That, like, Kazuya is a lot more privileged than he realizes. There's an artist outed on a manga site under a fake name after being banned the first time due to sexual assault. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was the artist from it was the artist behind that one entertainment industry manga, and they let him come back under a different name because they thought he should get another chance. And everyone's like, "What the fuck? Why would you just let this person come back and just hide the fact who he is just so you could have him write and get money out of him?" That's fucked up, right? Like, if a woman had something happen to her, like, if there's a fucking scandal, she'd be removed from the industry outright. But a dude can literally be and it's not just sexual assault, by the way. He was literally a pedophile. The person you're referring to, he's literally a pedophile. So a dude in the manga industry can be a pedophile and a sexual predator and still get another chance in the manga industry. But if a woman so much as has a fucking scandal, she's outed and kicked out. Insane. And that was the issue. That was the issue. Is like there is absolutely like a big inequality in that industry. But the thing is,
what people don't realize is Reishi does talk about this inequality a lot. The Rent-A-Girlfriend is very pro-women. Like, very pro-women. Like, for a huge part of it. Kazuya is incredibly supportive to the women around him. But that also doesn't mean that there aren't women who can do bad things. Even if they don't realize they're doing bad things. And even then, the way that Reishi writes them, it's really good. Because, for example, Mami's character, she does horrendous, genuinely horrible stuff. She's a byproduct of her environment. It's not just because she's a girl. She is literally a byproduct of her environment. It's not about her gender. And yes, her gender is taken advantage of. Absolutely. The fact that she's a girl is the reason that her dad abuses her and takes advantage of her. And he's literally trying to fucking marry her off. In that same way, Ruka is kind of the same way. Ruka is a byproduct of her environment. There are elements to her gender that are fundamentally connected to this. But at the same time, like, her actions are her own. And that is outside of her gender. It's the same thing for Kazuya. Kazuya does bad things. Aspects of it are connected to his gender. Aspects of it are not connected to his gender. It's your bias talking, bro. That... Are you referring to me or someone else? And if you're referring to me, right back at ya. Uno reverse card. It sounds like you're biased. Trying to find where I was. I think Umi will betray her in the end, showing that the Ruka was the only one who actually wanted to destroy Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship, despite telling Kazuya that she couldn't bring herself to do it. And I think that would be very, like, very, very ironic. This chapter shows how she was already doing it. That's the irony. She was literally already doing it. The chapter shows how she could bring herself to do it after all. This makes Ruka feel incredibly human. It's fascinating that we have no sympathy for her doing what she did to Kazuya without realizing how bad this was, but we can empathize with her doing bad things willingly. It is more understandable for us when she knows what she does is wrong because we can see her steps towards doing it. We come from the same moral standards and we can follow along with it being subverted. Yeah, I think you kind of put like what I wanted to say into words. We switch to Kazuya. He's working out, and on his confession, sorry for the pun, he has no idea how to... Wait, what? We switch to Kazuya. He's working out, and on his confession. Where's the pun? I think I'm missing it. He's working out, and on his confession. I'm not going to worry about it. I can't find it. He has no idea how to do this right. Many told him to keep it simple. But he remembers Umi giving Chizuru a simple confession and he was rejected. Just confessing won't do the trick. He imagines that she got confessed to multiple times per day. If Kazuya wants to stand out, he will need to make an impact somehow. When he thinks about it being Chizuru's job to make people fall in love with her, and about her suspecting that he might be in love with Chizuru Mizuhara, Kazuya realizes that there doesn't seem to be a big difference between Mizuhara and Ichinose. He sees similar traits in both of them. He writes that down as well, but he still doesn't know how to even keep his cool while confessing. He takes out the picture from the dream date to practice his confession. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fuck me. Fuck me. Fuck me. Fuck me. Fuck me. The death of dreams. And Kazuya takes out a picture from the dream date and confesses to dream date Chizuru. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. It's right there. My god. We are literally approaching the death of dreams. Motherfucker. It's right there. I didn't even process that. Wow. I'd say that Kazuya should focus less on generic confession lines and more on their shared time together. That's something unique that only he has in common with Chizuru. Lots of guys could make confessions, probably better than him, but he would reach Chizuru by pointing out the moments they had that they were most memorable to him. Chizuru did something similar in Odaiba. She talked about them being rescued in Shimada, beach. She talked about the movie that he made for her, and she referred to the cheer up date. Those were moments she felt deeply connected with Kazuya, and they were big contributing factors to how she feels for him. Kazuya has not done that yet. The perfect girlfriend speech came close, but he still talked in abstracts. He needs to be explicit. Chizuru has given him a lot as well, and Chizuru is unable to see that. Kazuya could show her those moments for him. That would be much better than a generic confession. Unfortunately, he currently isn't thinking about that at all. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't we already come to this conclusion before, Varicus? What conclusion? If you're referring to the dream date, I absolutely did not. I knew it was the dream date. No, I knew it was the dream date. I was aware of that. What I did not know is that the death of dreams is right there. So it's literally Reiji hinting. This is literally Reiji intentionally bringing back the dream. No, we knew the death of dreams was coming. I just did not know the dream date picture that Reiji just showed us was intentionally foreshadowing the death of dreams. That is what I didn't know. That's what I didn't clock. That Reiji was literally foreshadowing the death of dreams by showing us a picture from the dream date. I had no fucking clue. Okay, that's what I mean. Yes, I know it was the dream date. We already saw that. I just didn't know. Let me catch up to YouTube a little bit. Where's this from? Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Interesting. Let's see. The next arc may be about Chizuru understanding the truth. Important point. I think everyone's going to understand the truth soon, including Chizuru. I have trouble remembering names if I'm being vague. Personally, I think Mami or Umi could be the savior of this arc. Those whose identity was being sought. I don't know about Mami. I think Mami definitely fits the role of needing to accept she's the villain because she's running away from that as a parallel to Ruka. But the difference is we know Mami is the villain, but Reiji's intentionally coding her with a good person paint. That's kind of the big part. Who's Chizuru? Oh, I think you're misspelling Chizuru. So this is how you spell Chizuru. Chizuru. Man, I hope this song doesn't get like fucking copyrighted in any way. There was an artist. Oh yeah, we talked about this afterwards. Kodansha had quite a story with the former author of Act. That's what it was. Act Age. That's what it was. That manga we were talking about is Act Age. Yeah. The two are not on the same level. The perpetrator of the act is not prohibited by law and has served the sentence, but the other is completely banned by law. What are we referring to here? No. The problem is not that he can't come back to the industry. It's willingly letting someone who abused the industry come back into it. That's the problem. Why would you let someone who abused the industry and hurt people in that industry come back into it? This isn't me saying you can't give someone a second chance. They just don't need to do it here. That's what I'm saying. A person can absolutely have a second chance. They don't necessarily need to have that second chance in the same place where they hurt people. I don't think so. If you want a second chance, do it somewhere else. I'm not saying you can't have one. It just shouldn't be in the same place where that person perpetrated the acts. That's my issue. That's why it's fucked up. That's why people are mad. The fact that they hid it is the problem. The fact that they hid it was the issue. The professional company where this person was outed let this person back in and intentionally hid it, knowing full well that if they did it publicly, it would be a problem. That's why people were pissed. Like, not only did they let a predator back into the industry, even if they served their time, they also didn't, they also hid it, knowing full well people would not be okay with it. That's not right. That's not right. People should have a right to know if someone like that is there. Not to mention, a lot of these people like, don't get harsh sentences. The unfortunate truth is they don't get very harsh sentences. They get like a fucking year or two. When they're like, sexual assault cases should be far more severe. I'm not saying like fucking punish the person to death or some shit. I'm saying no, like they need multiple years in prison and they need like real reform. They need to talk to like fucking therapists and shit. Like not you just go and oh you're good to go. Like for a few fucking years. Cuz I don't think like the way we really or just a system functions really helps people, to be honest. We kind of just toss them in jail and we make them do some work and we're like, okay, you're good to go. It didn't really like actually do anything. And a lot of times our entire, like here, especially in the United States, our entire system is literally a fucking business. Okay. Let's see. This is Sonic music? Where's this from? Fly in the Freedom. Where's this from? I don't think I've ever heard this. Sonic Adventure era. Really? Interesting. Act Age author is at a different level than those who you were talking about. The author of Act Age hasn't made his mark in the manga world. I think he should have said so, but I think there's a good chance he'll be able to continue in this manga, which is currently just a hiatus. No. So there's the artist of Act Age, which has nothing to do with it. Got nothing to do with it. Then there is the author of Act Age, who did do bad stuff. Wasn't it the author of Act Age who like sexually assaulted someone or was a pedophile and then they got caught, but then they let them come back? The problem is the author of Act Age is a manga artist. If you deprive him of all opportunities, he will live miserably and the chances of him relapsing are greater. No. Give him other opportunities. He can draw his own manga at his own time. He doesn't need manga to have a decent life. He wants to draw manga, he can do that on his own time. It can be his own hobby. It can be his own hobby. I just don't think he should work for the same company. No, there's a difference. There is a difference. Yes, he's a manga artist. It doesn't mean he can't have other skills. It doesn't mean he can't work on these things. I don't think that's a fair argument. And I don't think he should get to work in the same place where he hurt people. That is not right. And if you're gonna do that, you should give people a say. Especially the people working there. How would those people feel if that person was coming back? Okay? How would those people feel if that person was coming back? Cool. You're talking about how he would be deprived of something and how he could relapse, not considering how his presence in that place could hurt the people that are there, could impact them and make them feel uncomfortable. Yes, maybe he's not literally working in a site, but the fact that their company that they're working for is doing this will push people away and deprive them of opportunities and hurt them. The fact that an industry would empower someone who did something wrong, it's not okay. It's not the same society anymore. What? This isn't about a society thing. This isn't about a society thing. I am talking about the impact on the people there. This has nothing to do with society. I'm talking about the impact of the people that are there. That is a completely different thing. I don't think it's right that this person can do something wrong like this and get to come back and hide it. They don't get to hide behind a name. That is not okay. You don't get to hide it like that. You want to give a person a second opportunity? Say so. Put it out there. Let's see how people react. What will they think? What do they want? But they hid it on purpose. That's not acceptable. Was the Shuji the jump? I don't know who the person is. I just know someone hid their name. Look, I don't know who the person is. I don't know who the person is. I'm not talking about... if it's not the Act Age person, it was someone else. I thought it was the Act Age person. If it's someone else, regardless of who it is, they hid who they were. And they got caught. And that's not acceptable. Period. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Whoever it was, they did something wrong. They hurt people in the industry they were working in, and they let them do it again. They let them come back into this industry completely protected and completely anonymous. That's not okay. That's it. We're going to move on from this topic. Vic McMahon got away with horrendous shit he's done to her employees because he is a rich bastard. Who? Who? Who's this person? Oh, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, this is the dude that has a bunch of memes. They still use the memes of this guy. I refuse to use the memes from this dude. He's a piece of shit. Yeah. There's a lot of people in the entertainment industry that are just fucking terrible. And it's not just limited to, like, men. There's a lot of bad women, too. It's just those bad women who get power and they abuse that power make it harder for the women who are struggling. It's like, dude, why? Come on, man. Like, and it's the same for the dudes who do shitty things. They make it worse for the normal dudes who aren't doing anything, and then everybody starts saying all men are terrible. It's like, no, stop that shit. Anyways, send something on Discord. I could be wrong. Okay. Bingo. She's gone from dismissing the impulse to do something wrong, blackmail Kazuya, to the first justification for it, considering teaming up with Umi. It's all going to come to a head at some point. The obvious, even if you don't subscribe to my hurricane theory. Hurricane theory. Okay, what's your hurricane theory? I think I've read this. I might have read this. Yeah, I think I read this. Okay. Bounced off each other and never online during the trip. The time around, the storm will bring them back together to actually be the couple they pretended to be. The upcoming events will force them to make decisions, abandon the baggage from the past, and finally give them a chance to be honest with each other and everyone else. I mean, okay, fair enough. I can agree to that. As Cedric gets more firm and assured in her feelings for Kazuya, it will be a reflection of the start of her investigation. Not just because it's a conclusion that answers the question, but because it puts her in the position of choosing Kazuya when all hope seems lost and embarking on the next phase. Kazuya resemblance to Kazuhito will feel like she's getting something back in her life that she's lost when Sayuri died. Once they're firmly established as a couple, you'll see them interacting with family and friends more. I think that's a problem. Kazuya starting to look like Katsuhito is a problem. Statistically speaking, when men mistreat women, it tends to be physical. When mistreat men, it tends to be psychological. First off, when you say statistically speaking, use actual statistics. 2, statistics can very, very easily be misleading. That is false. They can very, very, very easily be misleading. No, what you described is a generalization. In general, on a surface level, men tend to be more physical in their mistreatment, and women tend to be more psychological. In general. That's the generalization. That is not statistically speaking. I just don't think that's accurate. No way, shape, or form. Because this is deeply rooted in people's builds, their bodies, right? The idea that women tend to be weaker and men tend to be stronger. I just don't think that's true. There's no way that's true. Because there are a lot of women who can very much abuse men, physically and emotionally. And the thing is, men's abuse of women, while physical, is also emotional. So it just doesn't hold up. I see a lot of men sexually harass women constantly. Like, regularly. I would argue there is a lot more evidence of men psychologically mistreating women. But we tend to focus a lot more on the physical. Physical is far more prominent in the space because it's the one that we often see. It's the one people often fixate on. And the worst part is a lot of women tend to not report sexual harassment. There is a lot of psychological torment being done to women. There is so fucking much, but they don't report it. Not because they're in the wrong or something, but because sometimes they don't know how to. Sometimes you can't report it because what's going to happen is that, you need to prove it. And that shit is really hard to prove. It's literally like even more deniable than sexual assault, where sexual assault is very hard to prove sometimes. So that's why, like, that to me is not statistics. That to me is statistics built on false information. If there is statistics backing this up, it is not 100% true. It is very, very easy to fake statistics. It is very, very easy to use statistics to get the information that you want. That has literally been a proven fact. That's why I don't trust statistics these days. Like, there are statistics you can trust. I'm not saying there's shit you can't trust. No, hold on. Like, I'm not saying I don't trust any statistics. There is statistics you can trust when it's coordinated and there's real evidence that it was, like, diversified and planned. But you can easily just go to something and be like, okay, I'm going to just do this thing to check this stuff. So, for instance, a lot of crazy right-wingers love to use the statistics that there are more black people who cause crimes than white people. Okay? You can prove that false so fucking easily if you just compare the size of white communities to the crimes that are committed in them by white people. And then compare that to the size of the black communities in contrast. And that argument falls apart so quickly. And you'll start to realize how many more white people commit crimes than black people. It's just black people are just more generally disenfranchised. So naturally, a lot of them, a decent amount of people in those black communities sometimes turn to crime. That doesn't mean they all do crime. It's just those communities tend to be targeted. They get pushed into those directions, but you're more likely to find more crime from white people than you are from black people or African Americans or Asians. It's often just the environment, less so than the fucking people themselves. It's just really sad, man. It's just so sad. Okay. Yeah, okay, so they had their theory. But the real question is, how will it resolve? How long will it take to get us there? Oh yeah, so I was saying, like, I actually think it's a bad thing that Kazuya is starting to look like Katsuhito. I actually think it's a bad thing because he's becoming Katsuhito rather than being himself. And that's going to be, I think Chizuru's issue that she needs to resolve in terms of their relationship is specifically the fact that she's chasing Katsuhito's ghost when she's with Kazuya instead of actually being with Kazuya. It is a direct mirror to Maison Ikkoku, where an issue in Maison Ikkoku is that Kyoko is chasing her late husband that she sees in Gude. And Gude later, like, questions that. Like, are you just chasing him and not me? Are you here with me or are you here with him? And later she accepts, no, she wants to be with him, not her late husband. Right? She saw similarities in them, and that's part of the immediate attachment that she had, but she came to love him for him and not her husband. And I think that's literally Chizuru's problem. That is straight up Chizuru's problem. Chizuru's issue is that she sees Katsuhito when she's with Kazuya, and she loves Katsuhito. And she is making a mistake of not loving Kazuya for Kazuya, but for the traits that he shares with Katsuhito. You literally see this when he goes to her house. And that is not how a relationship should be formed. Yes, you can see parallels to a person, but you shouldn't love them for that person. You should love them for who they are. I think the part for me, most people don't know about Maison Ikkoku. Oh yeah, well, this story is directly connected to it. Reiji has openly said he takes inspiration from Maison Ikkoku. And yes, I always recommend to people, if you've never heard of Maison Ikkoku, please read it. It's so fucking good. Please read it. It is the progenitor of modern romance anime and manga. Just go fucking read it. It's really, really good. Granted, I will admit, it took me about 50 chapters to get hooked. Like, I will admit, the first, like, maybe like 40 chapters, But like for a hot minute, I wasn't really hooked on it. It's a lot of comedy. It's a lot of stuff here and there. What kept me going is the art. What kept me going is the art. The art of the manga is incredible. And it's sometimes so goddamn haunting. Sometimes that shit is so fucking haunting. And it's so goddamn good. And that's why I like very deeply loved it. It's like Aerith. She had a crush on Cloud because it reminds her of Zack. Eventually she fell in love with a real Cloud. The sad thing is like Aerith only saw parts of the real Cloud. She didn't see the real Cloud. I would say Chizuru is like a cross between Aerith and Tifa. In that, like Aerith, she has that connection, right? But like Tifa, she idolizes Tifa. So if you don't know, Tifa kind of idolizes Cloud. She remembers Cloud from her childhood, and she sees that Cloud, and she's very attached to that Cloud. But it's this question of, did you ever really properly know this Cloud? And I think that's literally what's going on with Chizuru, where it's like Chizuru is like attached to the image of the Kazuya that she knew, much like Tifa is attached to the image of the Cloud she knew. But also Chizuru is attached to the idea of the person she lost, and just like Aerith is attached to the image of Cloud. In that same way, there is a parallel with Tifa, where Tifa is very much attached to her dad, and she's attached to her mom, and what Cloud does for Tifa is literally represent, like, oh, you didn't lose everything. There's still that, I'm still here. I share this connection with you. The problem is that she needs to love Cloud for him, and not the fact that he is the last remnant of her home. That's part of Tifa's problem. And she needs to confront her home and remember things clearly. And not just let him protect her, but she needs to protect him. Right? So Tifa has her own problems that are rooted in a similar thing to Aerith. There's a parallel between their characters. They're both stuck in the past. Both Aerith and Tifa have pretty much lost a lot of things. And that's what they bond over. That's why they become friends. That's why they bond. And that's why That's why there's a parallel between their characters and parallel between Chizuru. Megasub is the thing ultimately shutting down Ruka for good is the realization that she assaulted Kazuya and didn't even know it. That her desire blinded her so much that she didn't even recognize the resistance and refusal from the person she was with. Didn't even register the pain she caused him. That should pretty much firmly end the entire Ruka-Kazuya relationship for good. Yeah, the Ruka-Kazuya relationship is pretty much already done. It's just Ruka doesn't see it yet. Oh boy. JoJo popping off again. JoJo popping off again. Okay, gang. So I'm not going to read JoJo today. I'm sorry. My mom wants to hang out. So I'm going to call it for today. If I get a chance, I might keep going tomorrow. If I get a chance. It really depends. And if I do, it might be later in the day because I want to hang out with my mom. If I don't, I'll continue on Sunday, and then later on Sunday, we can play Resident Evil 1. I want to finish Resident Evil 1. So there's still more to talk about. I do think so, for sure. We found a lot of interesting stuff. I really liked what Varicus wrote. Today was more of a general exploration of the arc. I think we did some good, like, ironing out here and there. But yeah. I think this arc is pretty good. We're getting some interesting stuff. Copy paste the text and tell the AI to do a summary. No! No! What is with you fuckers in AI? God, every motherfucker and his fucking fucks want me to read AI. No. No. Even if AI is 100% correct, I refuse. I refuse to participate. I already hate that when I fucking Google shit, immediately I get an AI shit. I already hate that when I fucking Google shit, I immediately get AI, and I can't fucking turn it off. I don't even, like, is there a way to turn it off? I don't even know how. God, it's a year ago. Ooh, it's from Google themselves. You are currently reading a French translation in chat. No, it's not AI. No, it's not AI. I set up my so I use where's that coming from? What the fuck? Where's that coming from? Wait, hold on. There's like voices coming from somewhere. Where's that from? What the hell? Oh, there it is. Weird. Okay, that was weird. No. Okay, so I was saying, I use a thing called right here. It's called Brave. I use Brave. I set up Brave to do translations just through their thing. It's not AI. It's not AI. I'm not using AI. It's literally just a translation. Right? I just set up the thing to translate. It's not AI. That's different. That's very easy to do. You can do it on Google too. If you just like go to your settings, right? This thing right here, you can set this up to just auto translate shit. Like it's literally just in your settings. You don't need, it's not AI. It's been there before AI. No, I'm not using AI here. I'm just translating. It's literally just, Brave's version of Google Translate. You can do it. Okay. Browser, click New Tab Plus. At the top of the page, click Labs. Labs? Where's Labs? What the hell? Wait, it had a thing that like showed you how to do it. Labs. This thing? Okay, where is that? More tools. Kingdom Hearts! Where's Labs? I don't see it. I like want to do it now just so I don't forget later. Because I know I'm going to forget. Find and edit. More tools. To be fair, it's the same tech. It's all natural network tech, but the training costs have already been done, and now they're all running on a finished interface with set weights and stuff. So it should be local to your machine and not some data center if that's what you're worried about. I just really don't want to support AI, okay? Like, I'm fucking sick of data centers. They're building some around here, and it's already raising the fucking bills and shit. AI just pisses me off, okay? Like, I hate that, like, in past fucking streams, I was, like, reading AI stuff without even realizing. I did it today! I was, like, I was literally just, like, going through here, and I accidentally, like, read this shit. Pisses me off. I also just don't like it because, like, I know it's a tool by corporations to manipulate people. And I just don't like that. There are tools in AI that I'm okay with. There are tools in AI that I am okay with. There are things in AI that I'm not okay with. There's things I'm okay with. Like, I understand, like, certain things that, like, are necessary in AI. There's stuff I'm okay with when it comes to AI. There's just... It's just what the companies are doing with it that I'm just not okay with, which is why I do not want to participate. That's my big thing. I also don't like how it kind of makes things too easy. So when I start using AI, reading becomes like a chore because I got so used to doing it the easy way where a thing summarizes it for me. I like reading for myself. Every time I'm trying to really find something, I never use AI. Like whenever sometimes like when I open this thing, like sometimes when I open this and it just gives me the answer right away, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But when I'm really trying to find something, this thing is never correct. This thing is like never correct when I'm really trying to find something. Like I gotta really actually go and like dig through stuff, and then I'll find my answers that I'm looking for. So I don't like the summarizing thing. I've never been a fan of that. It doesn't actually do it justice. Like I don't want a summary of what JoJo wrote. I want to read it myself. I don't want a summary of what JoJo wrote. I want to read it myself. I don't like summarizations of things. I don't like the art output stuff. I mean, yeah, that shit's gross. That's like the epitome of fuck off. Yeah, the browser answers are just kind of useless half of the time. If it's just like very obvious, it's like, okay, what's Independence Day? It's the 4th of July. Okay, cool. That's like, okay, no shit. But like once you actually like get complicated things, it just doesn't know. Auto tracking stuff? What's auto tracking? What's auto tracking? Afterwards, I get the impressions that opening is like the opposite title. It's very difficult. The AI is very good at doing translations. AI is not as good as you think it is at doing translations. AI is good at translating simple stuff. It sucks at nuance. For translations, it's good at doing simple stuff. The moment there is a modicum of nuance, it falls apart. I've had an easier time doing these auto translations that you're giving me than the translations you were sending me. Like this, what you're currently sending me is a lot better than what you were sending me. And if you were using AI before, that's proof. If you were using AI before, then that's proof that the AI you were using was giving me a hard time understanding what you're saying. Now it's a lot easier. I'm having a much easier time reading what you're saying now. Like NASA stuff. Or NSA stuff, sorry. They just put a bunch of date into NNs and spits on profile of you of the FloG cameras. Jesus. That's terrifying. I used to speak English. Now I speak French. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, this is as good a spot as any to stop. It was a 3-hour stream. I think we're going to stop here. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or Sunday. Not sure which one. I'm probably going to see the Odyssey tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. It really depends on how my mom feels. I don't want to tire her out. So if she doesn't want to see it, we won't see it. But if we get a chance, I'll try to see it. And then Spider-Man's almost out too. Yeah, Spider-Man comes out next week. Yeah. New Spider-Man actually looks good. I was never a big fan of the Tom Holland Spider-Mans. I think he's a good Spider-Man. My favorite Spider-Man has always been Andrew Garfield. He just had a shitty script. But Andrew Garfield is always my favorite Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's probably second, and then Tom Holland's last. But I'm looking forward to the new Tom Holland movie because apparently he actually had a good script. And I'm like, okay, bring it. Bring it. I'm down. Okay? Good script, good direction, actual swinging through the fucking city. Hell yes. I'm down. I was speaking my English, not that of an AI. Oh dear. Sounds like you gotta work on your English a little bit. Night all. Hope you have a good Saturday. Same to you. Take care, fellas. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.